Hi, I'm working with Cricut again today to show you how I made the little signs to put in the pots of hyacinth that I'm giving to some friends to welcome spring. The first thing you're going to do is get into your Cricut design space. And so here I am. And I'm going to open up a new file, a new project. The signs I want to make are square. And so I'm going to insert a shape and a square. There it is. And check the size of this one. It is almost 2.5 by 2.5, which is perfect. I was going to make it 2.5 by 2.5. And I want to change the color of that though. It's going to be printed on white paper, so technically that doesn't matter, but it does for my, just to show you guys. So I just changed that to white right in here in the layers. Okay. And that's being cut. You can see there. The next thing I want to do is I want to insert a little image, and I'm going to be using images from the Cricut Access. And the plants I picked up are just little purple hyacinths. And so I looked for hyacinths, and they have some, but I had to pay. I would have had to pay for those images, and since I didn't want to do that, I just thought I would go and find what I could in Cricut Access for free and work with that. So let's go into the Cricut Access. And I did, just to kind of save you guys the trouble of this, I did find a pink flower that looks kind of like a hyacinth, enough so that I can make it work for these purposes. Right there, kind of, sort of. I mean, I'm using some artistic licenses here. So we're going to use that. And I know it's pink, but I'm going to show you how to change that. So if you look over here, you see the flower, that flower layer. First of all, it shows it's being cut, and we need to change that. So let's click on it, and we're going to tell it it's going to print that. I'm going to be doing the print and then cut feature of Cricut. So we're going to be printing that, and it's going to be printing in that color. That's fine. Now this part, this pink part, we're going to change to lilac. There you go. That's all it takes to change the color. So that's pretty darn great. And we're going to be printing that too. All right. And so this is going to go here. It needs to be smaller. So we're just going to just push it in a little bit, bring it down. And there we go. We're going to make that. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see how the flower is kind of facing to the right. I'm going to make it so the flower is facing to the left, just to buy myself a little more room here to write. So if you come over here into that, that's the layer I'm editing. I clicked on the flower, and we're going to edit that. I'm sorry. Click on the flower. We're going to edit that. And right over here, we're going to just mirror that image. There you go. I'm just going to move that over to the left there. And then I'm going to put some text in here. And I'm just going to say, welcome, spring. And I did already go through and realized I like this font. And I'm partial to the writing style fonts. But I like a writing style font for this called Emmeline. There it is. And once again, there's a lot of spaces between these letters, which is fine, you know, for whatever purpose you're using, but I want my letters to be a little closer. So I'm just going to move those in and pay attention right here. You can see, so you're going to want to line that up, and it's almost there. If I hit it one more time, it's perfect. Did you see that on that R? If I go too far, smushing them together, you can see it gets a little jagged there, a little wonky. So it's hard to see, but you can see it's not just a straight line. So move that out one more, and you get that nice smooth line there. I'm also going to reduce the space between the words, this line spacing here. So let's lower that too. There we go. And I know I'm going to have to make that smaller. So let's move that in. And I might make this flower a little smaller. Move it over. Maybe let's see. Just play around with the spacing here. might be helpful if I centered that so that the spring part moves over. Let's see if that makes any difference. I want it to be as big as I can get it without, well, I think that works, doesn't it? Okay, so then let's go back to our layers and see what we've got here. We're writing the word, okay, so you see the letters in there, kind of a W, the beginning of the welcome. It's faint, but you can see it. So we're writing that. We're going to be printing the flower, and we're going to be cutting the square, which is also kind of hard to see because I made it white. All right. What we need to do now is make sure we've attached this whole project. So copy your whole image and attach it. All right. So now we're ready to print. So we're going to go here. And these little markers here, these little sensor marks, will be printed on your paper and will tell the Cricut where to cut and where to write. So I am going to just go ahead and print that off. And I'm using a cardstock, just a nice weight cardstock for this. I'm going to print that. And after that's printed, I will catch up with you at the Cricut machine. Okay, so this is what came out of the printer with the sensor guide, sensor marks on it. I'm going to line that up. I've just placed it on my mat. I've put my pen in. I've just got my regular blade on, and you can see the little flashing light over here. I'm just going to set that to load it. And then when this pops up, there we go. And the first thing it's doing here is it's reading the sensor marks. So it gets the exact layout of the page so it can write and cut in the correct place. I do like the way we get a written look with the Cricut as opposed to just a printed font. Now it's just cutting it. And there we go. I'll pull this off and attach it to the little sticks I made. I cut them.